You don't decide your future, you decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. Let me ask you a question. What if the very thing keeping you from the life you were designed to live isn't the devil, isn't your past, and isn't even other people, but your routine? Every day, you wake up, and whether you know it or not, you're practicing becoming someone. The question is, who? The graveyard is filled with people who had dreams, but not disciplines, desires, but not direction, goals, but not godly habits. The problem is not your potential, it's your pattern. You don't need a prophecy to see your future. Just look at what you're doing daily. People often ask, how do I know what God has for me? And I tell them, start by looking at what you do every day. That's your direction. Because the truth is this, your habits are quietly shaping your destiny behind your back. Every small action is writing a sentence in the story of your life. And most people are so distracted that they don't realize they're the ones holding the pen. You can't claim to be building a life of greatness while practicing mediocrity every morning. You can't desire clarity while feeding on confusion. You can't say you want to grow, but you've mastered staying still. Habits are like compasses. They don't just point you somewhere, they keep you locked on a path until you arrive. The problem is, some people are locked onto paths that lead straight to regret. Let me ask you something. If your current habits were multiplied over 5 years, what would your life look like? Would you be stronger, wiser, wealthier, healthier, or would you be buried deeper in distraction, debt, and delay? You don't become holy by telling one lie. You become a lie when lying becomes a rhythm. You don't become wise by reading one book. You become wise when you make learning a lifestyle. You don't become holy by going to church once. You become holy when your life becomes your worship. What you do repeatedly becomes what you represent. Every habit is planting a future. You just haven't seen the harvest yet. We love to blame the devil, but let me say this boldly. The devil isn't your greatest enemy. Your routine might be. Because the enemy doesn't have to destroy you. He only needs to keep you busy doing the wrong things. Wasting your mornings, wasting your words, wasting your energy on entertainment instead of elevation. Your habits are either training you for glory or preparing you for grief. You're not stuck because of fate. You're stuck because of repetition. The same alarm you ignore, the same excuses you rehearse, the same commitments you break. Change doesn't begin with emotion, it begins with interruption. At some point, you've got to look your schedule in the face and declare, this isn't taking me where I'm called to go. Because the clock is moving whether you're ready or not. Time is a currency that doesn't pause. And every moment is a transaction. You're either spending it on what builds you or what breaks you. So stop asking what your future will be. Start asking what your habits are becoming. Because long before people see your results, heaven has already seen your routine. God doesn't respond to emotion, He responds to obedience. You can cry, you can scream, you can dance until your legs give out. But if your life lacks discipline, your destiny will remain locked behind the doors of your own inconsistency. We have confused passion with progress. Passion is not proof of growth. Discipline is. You can feel inspired today and still fall into the same pit tomorrow. Why? Because feelings don't build futures. Habits do. It's not how high you jump in worship that changes you. It's how straight you walk when your feet hit the floor the next day. And let me say this clearly. God does not bless chaos. He never has. From the very beginning, He brought order before He brought increase. He didn't fill the earth until he formed it. He didn't breathe into man until he shaped him. That means if your life lacks form, if it lacks structure, don't expect the breath of God to rush into it. Discipline is divine. It is not legalism. It is not bondage. It is heaven's method for building trust, because God doesn't give authority to the gifted. He gives it to the consistent, the ones who show up when it's hard, the ones who stay quiet when it's tempting to talk, the ones who pray not when they're in crisis, but because they've made a covenant with consistency. You want to know why some people always seem to grow even in dry seasons? Because discipline doesn't check the weather. A farmer doesn't wait to feel good to sow seeds. He sows because the land doesn't respond to his emotions, it responds to his action. Heaven is the same. Angels don't move because you're frustrated. They move when there's alignment with the will of God. Destiny is allergic to laziness. You can't unlock heaven's doors with earthly excuses. Stop saying, I'll do it when I feel led. You were led 2 years ago, you just didn't follow. Because feelings are fickle. One moment you're on fire, the next you're frozen. Discipline is what burns when the fire goes out. Discipline is the evidence that you've matured. Children need reminders. Grown men and women of the kingdom set standards. Stop asking for breakthrough while living with breakdown habits. You can't pray away what you continue to practice. God honors those who steward their strength, not those who squander it. And discipline is the vehicle of stewardship. You don't need a new vision. You need a new vow, a commitment to live above convenience. Because when heaven sees discipline, heaven sees someone it can trust. And trust always precedes territory. Your routine is not just a schedule, it's a statement. Every day, whether you acknowledge it or not, your life is bowing before something. Worship is not confined to a Sunday service. Worship is revealed in your priorities, your patterns, and your private moments. You don't need a pulpit to prove devotion. You prove it in your patterns. That's why your routine is your real altar. Not what you say, but what you sacrifice. Not what you feel, but what you follow through. Because wherever your time goes, your heart has already gone. The modern mind thinks worship is a song. No, worship is submission. Worship is alignment. Worship is structure. And the truth is, most people are worshiping convenience while asking God for commitment. You've built your altar to comfort and then wonder why heaven is silent. You say God is first in your life, but where is He in your day? The greatest evidence of what you value is found in what you repeat. Look at your mornings. Look at your downtime. Look at what you do when no one is watching. That is your true sanctuary. God doesn't dwell in noise. He dwells in order. He doesn't visit chaos. He inhabits systems. If your life has no system to host Him, don't expect His presence to linger. The tragedy of modern faith is we want visitation, but not habitation. We want a move of God on Sunday, but we won't build a life He can rest in on Monday. You're asking for favor, but you haven't made space. God is not obligated to fill what you have not prepared. The oil flows where the vessels are ready. Let me tell you something dangerous. When your life is unstructured, the enemy doesn't have to tempt you with sin. He just keeps you distracted by disorganization. You won't fall into rebellion, you'll drown in confusion. Because if you don't build your day with God in mind, life will build it for you, and it will always build it in a way that drains you. Think about Noah. God didn't just say, I'll save you. He gave him dimensions, instructions, a blueprint, because salvation comes with strategy. If you want to be spared from the storm, you must build the ark before it rains. That's what your routine is. It's the ark you live in when the winds rise. This is not about legalism. It's about lordship. Who is ruling your day? Your phone, your fatigue, your habits, or your king? Because at the end of the day, your life is worshiping something. And whatever you worship shapes you. We are always looking for a massive shift, a supernatural event, a dramatic breakthrough. But what we forget is this: God often hides greatness in the small. It's not the earthquake, it's not the fire, it's the still small voice. That means transformation doesn't begin with the loud, it begins with the little. All right, your breakthrough is not waiting in the distance, it's hidden in your daily decision. We live in a world that celebrates the big but ignores the process. We honor outcomes but despise the grind. But let me tell you something dangerous about that mindset. You will miss your future if you keep underestimating the power of the small. Because in the kingdom of God, small things carry eternal weight. The mustard seed grows into a tree. A widow's oil multiplies. A slave's consistent excellence becomes a nation's deliverance. That's the power of the unseen, the unnoticed, the uncelebrated. The key to divine elevation isn't always in doing more, it's in doing one small thing differently. One adjustment, one realignment, one habit. That small choice might be the seed of an entirely new season. You don't need to rebuild your whole life tomorrow. You just need to climb the right seed today. You don't need to climb a mountain. Start by taking a step. It might be choosing silence instead of reacting in anger. It might be setting your alarm 15 minutes earlier to align your heart before your hands start working. It might be drinking water instead of numbing your stress with sugar or scrolling. And no, it doesn't feel spiritual, it feels simple. But hear me, simple is not shallow, because what you do in small moments proves whether you're trustworthy with big ones. Some of you are praying for elevation, but you haven't honored the entry-level instructions. You want God to open doors that your inconsistency would only waste. He's not punishing you, He's protecting what's coming. Because heaven doesn't promote the loudest voice. It promotes the most faithful heart. Success in the kingdom doesn't happen by chance. It happens by alignment. And alignment is built one choice at a time. Not in the spotlight, but in secret. Not on stages, but in stillness. Do you want to change your life? Change one thing and do it every day. Because the small things, when repeated faithfully, will move mountains you didn't even know you were climbing. Change is not hard, it's just unfamiliar. And most people are not afraid of transformation, they are afraid of leaving what they've learned to live with. You've adapted to dysfunction, you've normalized delay, you've made peace with patterns that are quietly poisoning your future. Let me tell you something that may shake you. You will never rise above what you continue to tolerate. As long as you keep adjusting to what's breaking you, you will never conquer what's beneath you. You were never designed to live under the weight of compromise. You were made to walk in dominion. But dominion demands separation. You cannot conquer what you're still clinging to. Some of you are praying for change, but clinging to what change requires you to leave. You want resurrection, but you're still holding on to the grave clothes. And let me tell you, the grave doesn't let go easily, because comfort has a memory. It calls your name in the middle of your becoming. It reminds you of what's easier, not what's better. But greatness is never born in ease, it is born in resistance. And that resistance is what refines you. Look at Israel. God delivered them from slavery, but Egypt was still in their mind. They cried for freedom, but when things got difficult, they said, let's go back. That's the danger of unrenewed thinking. You can be free physically and still change mentally. And that's why so many people sabotage their progress. It's not that they can't change, it's that they refuse to lose what feels familiar. You cannot embrace a new season while entertaining old habits. You cannot walk in power while walking in circles. There comes a moment where you must become violent with your excuses. You must confront the comfort you once called normal. If not, you'll spend your life repeating cycles and calling it God's timing. Change will cost you. It will cost your comfort. It will cost your laziness. It may cost your reputation, your routine, even your relationships. But the price of staying the same is far greater, because when you resist change, you delay what's already been appointed. And let me tell you, destiny does not wait on indecision. The future is not waiting for someone more talented. It's waiting for someone more determined. So don't ask, what if I fail? Ask, what if I never move? Because staying where you are when God has called you higher is the most dangerous risk of all. You do not rise to the level of your potential. You fall to the level of your systems. Everybody has a dream. Everybody has a calling. Everybody feels the pull of something greater, but only a few ever walk in it. Not because they lack faith, not because they lack vision, but because they never built the system to sustain what God showed them. It's not about having the right intentions. It's about constructing the right infrastructure to carry the weight of your assignment. Let me be clear. Your destiny is too heavy for a fragile life. Some of you are asking God for elevation, but your foundation can't even carry you through Monday. You're asking for overflow, but you haven't built the container. You want increase, but your capacity is leaking. That's why the change you crave must be more than emotional. It must be engineered. And engineering begins with design. You have to design your days like a builder designs a temple, with clarity, with precision, and with alignment to something higher. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't drift into excellence. You design your life in such a way that excellence becomes automatic. That means your life needs more than inspiration. It needs order. At creation, God didn't speak birds into existence and hope they would find air. He created the sky first. He didn't form fish without water. He created the sea before the swimmers. Why? Because divine manifestation follows divine structure. If there's no structure, there will be no sustained blessing. That's why your habits matter. Because they're not just about survival, they're about sustainability. A disordered life is a wasted opportunity. And the enemy isn't always trying to stop you with sin. Sometimes he stops you with scattered focus. Because where there is no system, there will be no stewardship. And what you cannot steward, you will eventually lose. You cannot carry greatness with a casual lifestyle. You need rhythm, you need discipline, you need systems that serve your assignment, not sabotage it. You want to change your life? Then start living like a builder. Builders don't guess, they measure. They plan. They prepare for the wait before the storm ever comes. Because it's not what you pray for, it's what you prepare for that reveals what you believe. Don't just wish for transformation, architect it, build it, brick by brick, day by day. Because if your system is right, your future will follow. And when the foundation is firm, no storm can stop you. So now you've heard it. Change your daily habits, change your life. Not in theory, not in fantasy, but in reality. Your future isn't waiting on a miracle, it's waiting on a decision. Every step you take in discipline is a seed into your destiny. Every choice to align your habits with heaven is a strike against mediocrity. You don't need another confirmation. You don't need another emotional high. What you need is the courage to build what you've been avoiding. This is not just about being better, it's about becoming who you were born to be. Because inside of you is a version of yourself that the world is desperate to meet. But that version is buried beneath the distractions, the excuses, and the comfortable chaos you've learned to live with. Today, I challenge you. Confront it, change it, choose differently. You've prayed enough. Now it's time to plan. You've waited long enough. Now it's time to work. And when you build with consistency, heaven will respond with clarity. You are not a victim of your habits. You are the architect of them. Build wisely. Build daily. Build with eternity in mind. Good luck on your journey. May strength rise with every decision, and may wisdom guide your every step. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening, for leaning in, and for daring to believe that your life can change one day at a time.